Good morning. Today my colleagues and I are excited to present to you a new antibiotic that would treat a variety of infections, erythromycin. My name is Kaylee and I will explore the competitors of the macrolide class as well as their problems, which then leads me to talk about why there is a need for our drug, erythromycin. Firstly, macrolides are a class of antibiotics that include erythromycin, roxithromycin, azithromycin, and this is where our antibiotic erythromycin fits in, a macrolide. Macrolides became available in the 1950s and are used to treat infections such as respiratory infections, skin infections, and genital tract infections. However, the most common side effect associated with this class of drug is nausea, vomiting, abdominal discomfort, and severe cramping. Macrolides have patients report these extreme side effects, in particular the most common macrolide, erythromycin. As a researcher in this field, I have extensively examined and researched direct patient experience when using macrolides. One study I conducted consisted of 940 people reviewing erythromycin and were asked to give a score out of 5 based on their experience. A score of 1 meant the patient would not recommend the product, and a score of 5 meant the patient would recommend the product to treat any infection. Out of the 940 people I surveyed, the average score was 1.9, meaning they would not recommend erythromycin for infections due to the severe side effects associated. Comments I had patients tell me were, "I never felt so sick in my life," or "I had to stop taking these as pains were getting worse and worse to the point where I couldn't function properly." These side effects led to the development of our drug, erythromycin. We believe that patients are a number one priority, and by putting your health first, we believe that we have created a drug that will help many people fight serious infections without the nasty side effects. And my colleagues and I are extremely excited in the launch of erythromycin. I'll now move on to Annalise, who will be discussing the biology. Donna will then talk about the pharmacological mechanism, where Rebecca will explain how the erythromycin will be developed. And finally, Lauren will finish up by discussing how erythromycin will be marketed to the public.
Antibiotics are some of the most frequently prescribed drugs for bacterial infections. Antibiotics are medicines that kill bacteria caused by infection. Antibiotics don't work against diseases caused by viruses. The drug erythromycin is a macrolide antibiotic. Macrolide antibiotics stop bacteria multiplying by preventing them from being able to produce proteins that are essential for their growth. The bacteria eventually die or are killed by your immune system. Erythromycin is used to treat bacterial infections including ear, nose and throat infections such as otitis media, infection of the middle ear, tonsillitis, infection of the tonsils, and laryngitis, infection of the voice box. Chest infections such as pneumonia, infection of the lining of the lung, bronchitis, infection of the airways of the lung, and whooping cough. Skin infections such as eczema, psoriasis, or acne that has become infected. Mouth and dental infections such as gingivitis, infection of the gums, and tooth abscess, infection in the root of the tooth. And finally, sexually transmitted infections such as chlamydia. Thank you for listening. I'll now pass you on to Donna, who will be discussing how erythromycin will work when targeting infection.
Thank you, Annalise. Antibiotics can be divided into 2 groups. These 2 groups are referred to as bacteriostatic and bactericidal. Bactericidal antibiotics aim to kill bacteria through preventing the bacterial infection from creating a cell wall. In addition, bacteriostatic antibiotics are designed to stop growth. Erythromycin aims to stop protein synthesis in the bacterial cells. The erythromycin antibiotic can be classed into the category of bacteriostatic as it is designed to stop the growth of bacterial infection, therefore making it a suitable drug for infection recovery. Whilst not disrupting human cells, the erythromycin drug works to prevent the growth of bacterial cells from multiplying, thus disrupting the creation of proteins in the body. As a result of this mechanism, erythromycin stops bacterial infection, therefore assisting the body in repair. Medical professionals direct clients to take the erythromycin tablets as a whole and on an empty stomach for best effect. Side effects that can occur when erythromycin is consumed include loss of appetite, vomiting, and nausea. The erythromycin drug is suitable for both children and adults as it works to reduce and stop infection in the body, therefore enhancing its suitability as a drug for infection. Thank you for listening. On to Rebecca now, who will be discussing how the erythromycin drug is developed.
Today I'll be discussing the process in which garethromycin will be developed to ensure it is a safe and suitable medication to use when treating bacterial infections. Prior to garethromycin being licensed to go on sale, it is a requirement to ensure the drug is safe through numerous stages of preclinical and clinical testing. After the drug has initially been discovered, preclinical testing begins. This consists of testing the effectiveness of the antibiotic on a variety of non-human living organisms. The trials focus on studying the toxicity of the drug and perfecting the production formula. The trials will also test the drug's absorption ability and measure how long the drug stays within the immune system. After garethromycin has clinically been deemed safe, human clinical trials will begin. There are 3 vital stages of clinical testing garethromycin that has to be conducted prior to the drug becoming licensed. Initially, the antibiotic will be tested on healthy human participants to investigate if the same results are experienced when humans use the drug as opposed to animals testing the drug. Then the drug shall be trialled on a small group of sick human participants to trial the therapeutic efficiency, which will conclude if the drug will be successful. Finally, garethromycin will be trialled amongst a large group of ill individuals while abiding by strict human rights guidelines. Only after the clinical trials have been completed and are deemed successful may garethromycin be eligible for regulatory approval. This process includes all the supporting evidence from both the preclinical and clinical trials being presented to the Food and Drug Administration, who will then decide to deny or approve the production proposal. Following the approval by FDA, garethromycin will be eligible to go on the market. However, post-licensing studies are required to be conducted regularly to monitor the productiveness of the drug within the general population. Lauren from the marketing team will now be discussing how the drug garethromycin will efficiently be marketed to ensure it is the preferred antibiotic.
So the marketing of this drug, garethromycin, will focus primarily on its success in comparison to other competitors out there in the same market. As Kaylee mentioned in the beginning of this presentation, when comparing this antibiotic to others on the market, such as erythromycin, the differences in the side effects of the drug are significant. When looking at erythromycin, some of the side effects included nausea, vomiting, and severe cramping, just to name a few. Therefore, when marketing this antibiotic, we will focus primarily on emphasising that antibiotics are to help fight bacterial infections, and this doesn't have to come at a health cost. The global antibacterial drug market was valued at $43.55 billion in 2012 and is expected to increase in 2019 to over $45 billion. Azithromycin alone, one of the most competitive antibiotics on the market, peaked sales in the US, selling $2 billion worth back in 2005. The revenue garethromycin will create does not compare to that of any other drug on the market. No person wants to overcome a bacterial infection at the cost of having side effects if avoiding so is possible. One of the ways this drug will be produced to maximise profits is through the design of the production line and the way it's sold. Garethromycin will be available in all leading retailers and stores and will be produced in high quantities to ensure low production costs and therefore the lowest possible price for our consumers. There really is no competitor for this drug on the market. Nobody wants to overcome an infection at the cost of their own health. Thank you for listening to our presentation.